It's Radio Zero with Rick and Rose. You realize it's... Oh, yeah, you do realize it. It's Friday the 13th, 2025. What could go wrong?
We're live streaming on Facebook, on the Radio Zero page, on the Poster Children page, on Twitch at PCJCUSA, and on the Poster Children YouTube channel. You can subscribe to the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Go to radiozero.us. You can patronize us at patreon.com/radiozero. Thanks to all our patrons. All right.
Okay. So happy Flag Day. Happy Trump birthday party.
That's tomorrow.
Well, just already, like, I'm preparing for it. And so is the new, like, I don't know, like, we should just start with politics, right? Or do you want to start with Brian Wilson's death? Is that the name of him? Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Which do you want to start with?
No, go ahead. You were already starting to say stuff.
With the politics? Okay. All right. So we should update everybody because we've been doing this podcast since 1998, if you count the one that we did in 1998, or the one or two that are lost, right? And so, we've been doing this forever. It's and it's the longest running podcast. Let's assume it's the longest run. Let's just say it because that's what people do nowadays. They just claim things. Maybe there's one that's longer running, but anyway, we should bring people up to date on the politics because in 1998, when this podcast started, I would not have, if you told me I would live through a global pandemic that shut down everything for a year and a half or whatever, and if you told me that the president was going to have a military parade on his birthday, and if you told me that people were being deported, if you told me what was going on here, I wouldn't have believed it. So I don't even know. And there's, who's the Nazi whose method of operation is to just spray as much shit at people as possible. Is that the Steve Bannon thing?
Oh, Steve Bannon.
Was it that? Yeah. So I can't, at the beginning of this, 140, 150 days ago when Trump 2.0 started, that it was one thing every week, but now it's like, and then people joked oh my God, it's a thing every day or it's a thing every hour. And it's like a thing every hour. Like the last thing I remember, Elon Musk, and this was yesterday, right? Or a week ago, Elon Musk and Trump had a falling out, and they had a little spat. People were talking to, people were making gay jokes because it was beginning of June or something. So it's Pride month. So and then other people are going, hey, don't make gay jokes about them. To be gay is not funny, and you shouldn't conflate it with, bad things that the president is doing. And then it was okay, so then it kind of, and then one of them said something really mean about the other one, and then the other one, Trump or Elon Musk said, oh well, Trump is in the Epstein files. So apparently he might be a sexual predator or something. I can't believe it. Right? Is that he's in the Epstein files, and so apparently that would cross some sort of line. And then the next day, what happened? The next day, they started. Stephen Miller must have got some sort of memo that he wasn't deporting 3,000 people every day. So they went to I can't believe I'm remembering this now. They went to a Home Depot to start just rounding people up, right? Rounding people up to get rid of them. And then people didn't like that, so people started protesting. What happened then? I can't remember.
Yeah.
That made the news. So people then, did something terrible happen? Somebody got beaten or something? A congressman got, here's
roughed up.
And we're watching Andor season 2 again. We're rewatching it with the child, and it's better on the second rewatch. But it's also, and it's the thing that's well done about it, and I will contrast this with the Wes Anderson movie. the thing that's well done. I didn't say a word to you when I got home. Right for 10 minutes, I was like, I'm gonna fall asleep, and now I'm like, all the coffee's kicking in. The Wes Anderson movie, I didn't really. I stayed awake through most of it. It was very beautiful, but I didn't really care that much about. I didn't care at all about the characters. Like, I care more about the actors than the characters in the Wes Anderson movie, which I think is a valid critique of newer Wes Anderson movies. Contrasting with that with Andor season 2, like there's like minor characters that I'm like, first of all, what color lipstick is that? And second of all, is she okay? You know, I'm like, and the portrayal of the peoples and the cultures in season, and I think Tony Gilroy, I don't know who's responsible for it, but the portrayal of cultures, there's like some sort of Belgianish, like European, like culture in Gorman, the planet, right? Like it seems like they're speaking French. Anyway, there's a massacre. Oh, spoiler alert! If you haven't fucking watched Andor season 2, you know you suck. But like there's so much portrayal of people, even season 1 too, like the uprising, right? In on that other planet that I can't remember the name of. What planet was that? I can't remember it.
Gobu.
GoPro. I
Progo.
I'm really tired, so I can't remember the name of it. But that was also like the Marva, you know, like inciting the rebellion, and she died, and so her hologram like is like, you know, you need to rise up against the monster, and you're like watching that, you're like, oh my God, Trump is the monster. And then the second, and it was just like, I'm so like taken with the Gorman, the people of Gorman, right? Like the Gore, right? I'm so taken with them. And their senator gets roughed up, gets beaten up and handcuffed and taken away, you know, at the Senate. And it's like the same thing happened like 2 days after we watched that episode. That happened here.
Not at the Senate, though.
What? It was
a briefing or something in Los Angeles. But still, no, yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. So... Oh, that's what happened. Okay, now you've jogged my memory. Thank you. So the president, against the wishes of Gavin Newsom, who's the governor of California? Is that who he is?
Yes. Against
his wishes, brought in the National Guard, took over a state with the National Guard because I think he likes playing with army men. I think it makes his penis hard. I think he's just like a toddler who likes playing, just like in our video, he likes playing with army men, and he understands it. You know, I think that's something he can understand.
And no, I think it's wanting to, you know, create a confrontation and you know, take control of
a state and
these blue cities.
Yeah,
so it's just
I know.
They're not going to do it in New York. Chicago, maybe.
Chicago will be second, right?
I guess.
And I was saying, like, when it started in Los Angeles, I was like, he's doing it in Los Angeles because there are more cameras there.
Well, it's just California's, you know, more. It's bigger.
Yeah, you'd think he would start in Illinois. But why didn't he start in Illinois?
I don't think. Yeah, no. I guess you're right. I mean, L.A. is a bigger city.
It is. It is bigger, right? That's.
Yeah, I mean, I
was
closer to Mexico too, I guess, the border.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay. All right. I haven't been paying attention here. Hi, happy Friday to you too, Dannon. Okay, wait.
French actors, Gore, but I thought they were Dutch, but maybe it is French.
Oh yeah, I think they're French actors. Yeah, and they're like
Belgian. They sounded Belgian to me. Actually, not French, but anyways.
Yeah, didn't I say Belgian? Maybe they're
know.
French Belgian, like they're the French part of Belgium. Don't they speak French in part of Belgium?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have a filter on the camera? I don't look as like I walked into the bathroom today, looked at myself in the mirror, and I was like, oh.
It's something. It's however Apple processes
60-year-old
streaming video
women.
now.
Oh, okay, good. All right. So anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. So so I mean, it was like a couple of days ago that Trump called in the National Guard and the Marines, and then there was all kinds of news stories about that. And I was listening to that for a while, and I'm like hooked on this stuff because like and I think my mom is too. Like it's enticing, right? It stimulates your fight or flight response. Like it gets your adrenaline up, and you can get addicted to it, right? So like
I saw an amazing. It was an excerpt of, or a short film that's based on this larger film about sort of like the history of the camera and stuff. But it was a Ted Turner interview in like 1977, and it's like. He's like, the reporter's like, well, what is this Superstation all about? TBS, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, it's entertainment, you know. It's like people like, do you know what the Beverly Hillbillies is? And it's like, we show the Beverly Hillbillies. People watch it so they don't want to know, you know, so they don't have to, you know, deal with their problems and everything like that. It's escapism. And then the reporter said, well, what if everybody else starts showing that? And then Ted Turner said, well, then we'll start showing the news all the time.
He was a visionary.
Like entertainment. Yeah. It was like, we'll counter program. And
right.
It was like, oh yeah. And he started CNN. It was interesting.
God. Well, okay, so then they're talking about the Marines, and then like my woke leftist NPR station is, you know, has people on it saying things like, well, the Marines are not really trained to deal with combating the citizens of Los Angeles, you know, that, and then there's pictures all over the place of Marines like sleeping on concrete floors. And then you know, then I woke up the next morning and like Israel had attacked Iran. And so I didn't get to hear about the Marines sleeping on the floors anymore. And then and every so often like I can't sleep, so I go on Facebook, as one does, and like wake up and I'm like, okay, I'm only gonna read one thing. Heather Cox Richardson's gonna show up at 2 a.m. when she posts that, and it's not 2 yet, so I like, look, I've been sleeping for 3 hours because I'm exhausted, right? It's 1 a.m. I'm probably going to be awake for the next 4 hours, and I look and it's just somebody posts, here we go. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Here we go. What's here we go? What is it, World War III? What for? Like what here? What's here we go?
Yeah, it is interesting when you see posts that are just like in a reaction to something. It's like, uh-oh, you know, and it's like, what, you know, what could it be? And it's like, oh, it could be from 3 days ago. It's just like,
yeah. Well, no, it was posted right then,
yeah.
And I was like, what? And then I went back. I put the phone down. All right, Dannon says he's half Belgian. Which half, Dannon? Yes, the Walloons are the French-speaking part of Belgium. I think they make up 1/3 of the population. So did you watch Andor, Dannon? What did you think of the gore? GHOR, Gorman. I just love Andor so much, and I'm not even a person who's like, I'm so glad they don't have Jedi in there because Jedi are stupid. This is a real adult Star Wars. I don't fucking care. I love Jedi, and I love the Andor, and you like it too because you're not complaining. You're sitting and watching a second, and then you went up to Chicago for your little movie podcast thing, right? Spoiler alert. And you were like, when are you guys gonna watch? What's Rogue One? And we're like, it's like obviously like, you know, you want to watch it too.
Well, it's like apparently all those people, yeah, are in Rogue One. Like those characters, like it's
yeah. You got all excited.
I don't
about
even
that.
remember Andor in Rogue One. I don't remember any. I just remember
Cassian Andor.
Yeah, I just remember the upload. That's all I remember.
See, when you focus on one thing that you think is stupid.
Does he get nuked? Is he one of the people who gets nuked?
Oh, honey.
I can't remember.
Okay. Well, I mean, so I was sitting. You hear my story about like I don't think you came with us the first time or whatever to see Rogue One because I was sitting with the two boys. You may not have seen it. Is it possible that you
No,
didn't see
I
it?
saw it.
You
I
saw
remember
it on the TV, maybe.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw it in the theater.
Did you?
I
Okay.
slept through it.
All right. Well,
I remember the like Vietnam stuff, the fake or the Apocalypse Now stuff at the beginning, right? With the
I don't
like
even really
Apocalypse Now
remember.
stuff.
Yeah, I don't remember that much. All I remember is like halfway through. I had one boy on each arm, and we were like enjoying it, and then I was like, oh, these people are gonna die. All these people are gonna die because they're not in Star Wars 4. And I mean, and that was before, history could be rewritten. And yeah, we can complain about whatever. Okay, we've got a whole bunch of writing here. Let's see. Dan's father was born in Belgium. He came here as a kid, and I'm never sure where you are, Dan, because sometimes you're in different places.
No, that's Tim.
Oh no! Okay, you see Dannon all the time. Where are you, Dannon? Tell us, Chrissy. Chris, I can't even. Yeah, lost track of which World War we were in. How are you feeling about tomorrow? The protests going to be wild or not? And yes, Andor so good. Okay, we gotta address the protests. Let me see. Dannon has started season 2, but hasn't finished yet. Oh, it's so good. Josh, Andor was very good in my opinion. Dannon, I've seen some of the Gorman parts, but I'd not made it to the massacre yet. Oops, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, spoiler alert. Okay, so you want to go on to do you want to say anything else about politics right now?
I thought we were talking about Andor.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Andor. So you want to say anything about Andor?
No.
Spoiler alert, because people haven't watched the whole thing.
Yeah. No.
I'm gonna rewatch. We've got 2 more
you're
episodes.
Like, should we start with politics? And then it's like Andor. We're talking about Andor.
It's funny because you can map that. You can hold it as a shield in front of the politics and just be like, and point to it and go, oh my God, look, Okay. Well, okay. Yeah. See, Dannon's in Phoenix. He's based in Phoenix, Chandler specifically, but he travels a lot. So he could be anywhere, but he's home at and you didn't have to tell us that you were home here either. But yeah, we know that you travel too. See, or I know because I see you at concerts like around the world. Okay. The protest. So have you decided to go with me to the protest? I've decided to go to the protest because I will be here.
Have you decided to go with me?
Yeah, you're going with me. That's good. We'll slap some sun protection on you and then bring you out. We'll trot you out we'll even walk. It'll be good exercise.
I might get tackled for blinding the peace officers. This
there are plenty of white men around here.
White marshmallow is.
You even have hair. There's like all the other white men around here are bald. You know that, right? Do you ever do that? Do you ever like count? Not our colleagues though; they're not bald. Well, we have. We have one. Right. Anyway, you're not. Yeah, in Champaign or Chicago. No, we are in Bloomington, Illinois. So we're gonna go to the protest in Normal. Right. I think it's in Bloomington. It's in front of the BCPA.
Oh, the
at noon.
BCPA. Okay,
Yeah.
That's what confused me. I was like, why is it going to be in front of the CPA? But it's not. It's the BCPA.
Yeah. So Bloomington Center for Performance. And I also saw that people are foregoing driving to the nearest big town just so they can. So we're looking for the number of cities that protests are happening in, and not the number of people. Oh, Chris, you went to Wesleyan. So you know what I mean? So I read that somewhere in the middle of the night probably. So, we could drive up to Chicago or take the train up to Chicago, but it's better to be here in our smaller town and go to the protest here. And then people will be like, oh my God, there's even a protest in Bloomington Normal, where people are, where the skies are green and the streets, the grass is blue, bluegrass, get it? And I'm misquoting our song, Western Springs. Poster children.
Yeah, well, I didn't think we were going to go to Chicago.
Right, we're not going to go to Chicago, but so yeah, they're gearing up, and then there was like a post about like, well, you always hear the Republicans saying, oh, they're paying people to go to the protests, to the Democrat protests. And then I saw, and I'm like, they're gonna, who's got the money for that? Like, that's not. I don't even think Democrats are. First of all, I don't think they have the money for that. Second of all, I don't think they're organized enough to do that.
Why are you talking about this?
Well, because then I saw a post about like on Craigslist. Somebody was, there's a post on Craigslist hiring people for Trump's parade. So it looks like it's filled in, which I also don't believe. I don't know. Like, there's so many things. Now there's like things that like my mom's a total staunch Democrat. She'll send me something and I'll be like, that looks too good. Like, it looks too horrible to be true. Like, Trump has 2 penises. And then you're like, I don't know. It seems like that would be a real problem for people to vote for him again. And then, like, you look it up and no, Trump doesn't have 2 penises. This is false. So, like, I don't know if there's not even a way to tell if the Craigslist thing is true or false. And that really upsets me too, All the misinformation going on, Rick, is upsetting me.
Fake news.
The fake news, yeah. But so I feel like, and then they can, so if there's more protests recorded in different cities, then at least they can be like, hey, look at all the different cities that there are protests in. There, you'll hear it on Rachel Maddow. Oh, across the United States, there were 1,000 protests in different cities. So that's why you should go with me to the protest.
I think it's going to happen without me.
Yeah, but should go with me. So do you remember talking to Ian Mackay from Fugazi about this? Do you remember talking to him about it?
No. I think you talked to him about it.
So, and not this particular protest, but I talked to him about, like, what's the deal with protests? And he was like, just to be, I think we talked, like, about, like, the Ralph Nader, like, when we went to see, like, with 1,000 other people went to see him talk, right? Or who was it? It was Nader, right?
You're talking about like 25 years ago?
Yeah, we were friends back then too, right? But you were kind of like, what's the point of going? I think you were in on this conversation with them.
I didn't. Now I think you're conflating a bunch of stuff.
I might be conflating a bunch of stuff, but the point.
What I said was the lesson of that is going to that huge Green Party event.
Yeah.
In Chicago, that filled stadium, and feeling the power of that, right? And how.
And realizing that you're not alone.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
But however, it was kind of like a false impression where it was like 20,000 people, but it was like that made no difference.
Yeah, they didn't
in
vote.
The election. No, it's not that they didn't vote. It's that like 20,000 people versus 100 million or whatever. It was like that idea that I understand it. That's what I was talking about. Was like it gave
false
me
impression.
False hope.
Yeah, false
that,
hope.
Oh
yeah.
wow, and that's why rallies like that, like the Trump rallies. It's like, oh, this is a huge thing, but it's kind of like, it's not that huge.
Yeah.
Because there are 100 times more people, or thousands times, tens of thousands of times more people. Now that's not, but I'm not criticizing a protest. And I'm fine with protests, and it'll be great. I'm happy to go, but I also do feel like it's a 20th century sort of solution or action to
activity.
Yeah, and I think it could be used against us.
Oh yeah, that was another thing in the middle of the night. Like, all of a sudden, like, it's possible that the voting machines were hacked. So maybe Kamala Harris didn't lose the election or something like that. And then there's been so many like Trump is like, yeah, Elon really changed the he sure knows those computers. Ha ha ha. Right. There's been enough that was something I read in the middle of the night too. Like there's so much just crap flying around.
Yeah.
But so you're gonna go. So we're gonna go to the protest, and then I've read. Make sure like they're gonna be Republicans there inciting violence, or just people inciting violence against the police to make it look like the Democrats are inciting violence against the police, which will allow Trump to call in the National Guard, which is what he wants to do.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Is
could go against us if we're there. And so I read
not necessarily in Bloomington normal. But
so make sure you sit down. I read that. Make sure you sit down. And then the next post is like, don't sit down because the tear gas will get you worse if you're sitting down.
Yeah, that's what Bag Boy was saying. He was at the Chicago March on Tuesday, and all the different stuff. Like you have the pots and pans to make noise, but then also you can put a pot on top of the tear gas canister.
Oh, good.
Umbrellas, gas or whatever, respirators.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff.
He's got a respirator, I know.
Yeah, and then it's interesting.
He's he's got our first child is out in Chicago probably with a giant camera, right? And that's a big thing too. And then that was the other thing I saw. People just go document. All right, Chrissy says Texas government governor is planning on the National Guard trigger finger as far as National Guard trigger finger.
Yeah. So that's the thing is like like in Texas, it's like, yes, bring the National Guard in. It's there are going to be places where there's it's going to be I think it's going to be an opportunity to create disorder. That's worrying about a police riot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then the governors are starting to yell back at the like they're actually vocally starting to at least somebody's yelling back at the crazy right. So at the crazy right. So I've seen Pritzker yelling back or talking over one of the Barbie dolls, and or somebody, I can't remember who it was, but just like talking over, like just telling it like it is, as they say. And then Newsom, who else did I see? Like people are starting. The other guy who just got like shoved to the ground, right? The other senator, like who got like another senator from Texas, I think, from California, got shoved to the ground. He's just going to try to ask, what do they call her? Barbie? Like fascist Barbie? They should call her Klaus Barbie. I was thinking, okay. That's so I think it'll be so I was walking just down Uptown Normal Street on Thursday, and I saw a lady with a shirt on, and the shirt said "We the People," like the way it was drawn on the on the
Constitution,
the preamble,
Declaration of Independence.
And
which
then
one?
there's an up, wasn't it I don't know because I don't know. And there was an upside down United States like shape of the United States, and it says underneath it says "are not okay." And I was like looking at her like,
what does that mean?
Yeah, what year did you get that shirt? Which "We the People are not okay"? Is that during the Obama year? Like, what are you protesting? And I'm like, what's she protesting? And then and I'm sitting eating my acai bowl outside, and then there's like a line of like a bunch of like old white people next to the acai bowl place, like protesting with signs, sitting in lawn chairs protesting. And I'm like, oh my God. And the woman I was with, she goes, look, there's a protest. And I went, oh my God, it's so cute. But it's like a bunch of old people like sitting in the circle, they're protesting, and they're like, oh, we're here every Thursday. Tell your friends, and we have signs you can hold. You don't even have to bring your own sign. We have signs.
Yeah. Well,
Lying Levitt. Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, let's make some predictions. Okay, National Guard in Texas. Anybody's going to who's going to die? Is anybody going to die? A police officer will die, but this time it'll be a problem. It won't be like January 6th. That's the other thing is like the fact that the here's what goes on in my mind. Okay, the January 6th like police officers were beaten and killed, right? The MAGA people were coming to kill the senators, right? Or the Congress people, right? They were coming to kill the Republicans, and the Republicans are still like, there was an insurrection in Illinois. We need to call in National Guard. You know, how dare you? And one of the Congress, or somebody was yelling at them, going, how could you even say that? On January 6th, people were coming to kill you. People were coming to get you, and how can you say this?
I don't know. I mean, is that surprising? I mean,
it's not surprising, and this is how my mind works. Like I'm saying, is that it's gonna, when it's the Democrats, they're gonna do the same thing too, right? It's gonna be just like their Democrats are gonna be hypocrites too, right? Some Democrats gonna be a hypocrite.
If what, like, there's like a bunch of radical leftists who try to take over the government. Is that what you're talking
either
about?
They're not going to be hypocrites enough, and it's going to be a problem, or they're going to go too far, or somebody's going to be hypocritical and pretend they're a Democrat. Chrissy says somewhere maybe journalist footage of two being shot with rubber bullets in L.A. the past week. Yeah. Did you see what were you saying about the journal? So journalists are getting shot with rubber bullets. There's footage of a guy like aiming a gun at a journalist and shooting her in the leg.
Yeah. You're not supposed to do that.
You're supposed to shoot at the ground, Rick said.
That's right. You're supposed to bounce it into the crowd. You're not supposed to directly shoot a rubber bullet at someone, but that's what happens.
Should we do like a bingo card? National Guard, we should do a bingo card. All right, so National Guard in Texas, National Guard getting called in Illinois, probably.
I mean, yeah, those are going to be the places like Austin, maybe that's going to be problematic, right? So the State House, and then you've got Austin, and then
San Antonio, maybe.
Yeah.
Other guy.
Yeah,
got shot
yeah.
in the forehead.
I guess, in the some more like border areas, but it's yeah. I don't know. I don't think. Yeah, it'll probably be exclusive. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
There's footage of police in Omaha, Nebraska, taking a knee to support the protesters, and the protesters yell. Yeah, did you see that?
No.
Yeah. Support the protesters, and that was the other thing too in Los Angeles. I think the LAPD issued a statement saying that everything was under control, right? In some area, and then I saw somebody post that, and then I went to look for it to see if that was real or not, and I couldn't find it. But then I found it somewhere else. So that's the thing, is like people will post like TikToks that are wrong and stuff like that. I hate that. I really hate it. All right. So yes, but Andor really great. Ken Summer says, questions coming from a different site. Dumb name, no kings. NS, American History Lessons, was practicing the drums with your music as very complex times. I need to find Dangerous Life in Cal. It Flower Power accidental. Ken, I can't read it. I'm sorry. Oh, there's a whole lot of stuff here. Okay, it's very cryptic. Oh yeah, Dangerous Life is a hard song to learn. Okay. All right, so what else do we have? Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. The other tragedy. Brian Wilson died. that, you know, it's a tragic, like I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I hope Rick is okay. And then like I like wrote, oh my God, Brian Wilson died, are you okay? And Rick writes back in the family WhatsApp, Brian Wilson died in 66 or something like that. And then I was like, shit, you know what? And I went back to check my source. She's like, I'm like, fuck, like, how could that be? I thought it was a New York Times. It said it on my watch, you know, fucking New York Times. What are you doing to me? And then I found out, no, he just died. He was in his 80s. And then I was like, oh, did I get the name wrong? And then I went to look, no, it's Brian Wilson. So then I was like, I got to ask him what he meant about that when I get home. So go ahead, tell us.
And what I said when I was with Bag Boy, and I said, "Oh, she's gonna repost this or something. She's gonna."
No, I didn't.
Well, you reposted it right now. It's just it's a bad joke. Because that was, 1966. That was, when everything started falling apart for him.
Yeah, so I I had to listen to a little bit of the Terry Gross, like they're doing some Fresh Air stuff, and I didn't listen. So apparently he took drugs. He had a problem.
Yeah.
He was a complicated fellow.
Yeah.
Josh,
Yeah, he was very young, when he became successful, and then there's LSD, I think, contributed to some of his problems.
1960s LSD. Yeah, right, or 70s.
Well, yeah, no,
yeah.
And then, there's
his dad. His dad was
was abusive. Yes, had an abusive relationship with his father manager, and also sold off all his songs in 1970. Sold off all the publishing because his career was over. His dad did terrible stuff. And then his cousin, didn't like how the weird hippy dippy stuff that was going on. Even though he was Mike Love, transcendental meditation guy and everything like that, but it's also, they just didn't like how, I don't know, weird and psychedelic stuff was getting. The whole Smile record, the record that was never finished. Well, I guess it was finally, but all that stuff.
Yeah, you're saying and I don't know, so like it's not.
I'm not gonna.
Other people
you want me
know.
to go through the
history
the Brian Wilson history, and then that was So it's just that it was a bad joke.
Well, what are the high points of like how has his life changed your life? Why don't you tell us?
I don't know if it has that much. I mean, I'm not as big of a, a lot of those songs and the Pet Sounds stuff. I mean, I like it kind of, but there are a lot of chords. I'm not a big chord person, so
you mean changing lots of chords, right? Or do you mean complicated chords?
I mean a lot of chords, like songs with a lot of chords.
Yeah. It's a crutch.
And there's the whole I mean, there is the whole idea of kind of getting lost in the studio. I mean, he's the sort of earliest example or lesson. It's like, because he had access to the technology, I guess, and the finances to be able to just continually tinker with something, and then got to the point where he couldn't finish anything because he was just tinkering, and then also having mental problems. And
then I heard Terry Gross said that he was under the care of a psychiatrist or something.
Yeah, that was he was kind of groundbreaking in a lot of things, like having Eugene Landy having the sort of live-in therapist who kind of took over his life and got him sort of back into shape somewhat, but also just completely took over his life. Became a songwriting partner. They tried to The record that came out on Sire, though, was after that. That was in between. I think there were two Eugene Landy periods, and there was the in between period when that Brian Wilson solo record, the kind of synthy one. That one, I don't think Eugene Landy's songs are on that. I think there was a record after that. Although I thought he was earlier. Yeah, it's all fuzz. I don't have the timeline exactly right. But yeah, lots of that stuff. Yeah, it's just kind of sad, I guess, and damage. The thing is that the one thing I read is like, people talking about his lyrics and his songs and the sort of introspective songs and everything like that, and it's like so much, almost all, I would say, of the songs he had other people writing the lyrics. I mean, he'd come up with choruses or something, but it's like Tony Asher and Van Dyke Parks, and it's like,
were they his concepts though?
Kind of, I think, maybe, but he wasn't really a lyricist. He was he created the music and a producer. He was a producer, right? In the classic sense, like Phil Spector. He was like
right.
Phil Spector. And so Phil Spector wrote songs too, but as time went on, he had songwriters, and then his name would be put on some songs, and maybe he'd tweak stuff, but like, so To Know Him Is to Love Him, like Phil Spector wrote that song, and that's deeply disturbing. That's another, young person who became, sort of famous as a producer and lost it. But yeah, To Know Him Is to Love Him was on Phil Spector's. His father killed himself, and his father's gravestone is To Know Him. It says To Know Him Is to Love Him. So Phil Spector wrote a song. It was like his first hit song. Crazy stuff like that. But later on, River Deep, Mountain High, for instance, right? Phil Spector may have some songwriting credit on that, but it's he didn't really write it. And so it's kind of like that with I mean, although Brian Wilson did write the music, he was writing music, but lyrics, that's a little fuzzier.
Josh here is saying that in the NPR interview, he said he wanted to sing like a woman for the harmonies. I think what I thought I heard was that he already was singing like that, and then he accepted it or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I'm trying. Did he? Yeah, he sang. Well, they were singing 4-part harmony, or like the Four Freshmen and stuff like that. And so somebody's got to sing the higher parts. But I always thought Carl sang higher. But I don't know. I guess Brian sang higher.
Listen to the Fresh Air interview,
and I'm sure I've heard it.
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
It's from what 20
there's
years ago,
two,
or
like the
30
newest
years ago.
The newest Fresh Air has like 2 interviews compiled into it. So, and I haven't listened to the whole thing yet. Josh also said he thought that he read that the Pope is also visiting Chicago on Saturday.
Whoa,
that's a confluence. I did see the Pope wearing a White Sox hat,
and
which
that
I
you
didn't
believe.
know if that. No, I didn't believe that either. It was like, oh look, the Pope is in his. Like there was some kind of name for the gown that he was in. He was in for the first time. He wasn't in his fancy gown, and it was some other name for a gown. It kind of looked like the Flying Nun to me. Like it had like jaunty, like I don't know anything about that stuff either. Oh, Josh is paraphrasing. Okay, but are you paraphrasing about the Pope visiting Chicago on Sunday? That if the Pope visits, is he going to be deported? Is he going to be allowed in?
Is he an American citizen still? I think he is.
The Pope?
Yeah.
I mean, this is like somewhere also in between all that, it was like, oh, people from like 17 different countries can't come to the United States anymore. And it was like, that happened like at some point. And I was like, oh, there goes our grad students, like, because we have a bunch of grad students coming from there. I was like, huh. Like, that's actually going to affect us.
Yeah.
Oh, Josh has a show in the city, so it's going to be a day. What? No. What's the show? I have to look it up. I have to look
and
up.
then Sly Stone died too. I think he's just as important. Sly Stone.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. If not more. My God, yeah, yeah.
I mean, and he had well, no, actually, yeah, similar. Well, he was a producer too. I mean, that's the thing. Is like Sly Stone. I mean, he definitely was a musician, but then he was DJing. I read his whole biography or autobiography, which is weird, and not necessarily reliable. But he was San Francisco DJ. Also doing music, and then produced like the Beau Brummels. He was Autumn Records, which was like the label. It was like I think it's a Warner related label, or maybe it was the label that Lenny Waronker ran before Warner Brothers, or he joined. Anyways, it's like like some of the Beau Brummel stuff, Sylvester Stewart. I feel like he had something to do with Love too, but I don't actually. That's not true. I don't think. But yeah, and then then did the Family Stone, band, and became but produced all that stuff. I mean, he was a producer, and yeah, I don't know. I felt like just as important as Brian Wilson.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I think wrote. I think he wrote the lyrics. I think he wrote most of the lyrics.
As a lyric writer, that's important to you.
But then the other thing is what is it? I'm trying to remember what song, the first Sly and the Family Stone hit song was, because they did the first record and it was too good and too complicated, and then somebody, I think the label person or his manager said, you just got to write, simpler songs, and so he did, and then it was like instant hits. He started, and I'm trying to remember. It's an obvious song, "Dance to the Music." I think it's "Dance to the Music," where it's just like, okay, I guess I have to write stupid songs. They're not stupid songs, but it's like I can't
simpler
do this
like,
complex.
Yeah,
it was almost like not prog rock, but it was like this amalgam, like Sly and the Family Stone was, anyways, but like much more like jazzy rock. I guess kind of like what prog rock would become a little bit, but it was or like when you listen to like Hair, like the music from Hair, where it's like that, or Jesus Christ Superstar stuff, right? Too many chords, right?
Yeah,
that same kind of thing. It was.
How old was Sly?
He's I think he was a little old. Well, he would have been. I think he was still in his 20s, but like they didn't start having hits until 68. Right, I think that first record came out in 67, and so he was a little a little older.
Josh has the Sunday's Candles band is performing tomorrow for the insurrection, at the Thirsty Tavern. So you better watch out, Josh. Don't play any anti-American songs. You should start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Not the Thirsty Whale.
No, it's just the Thirsty Tavern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was on that other podcast. We were talking about the Thirsty Whale.
Yeah.
Which was a venue in the Chicago suburbs, I believe.
Oh.
Used to hear it on Starbeat Presents What's Happening.
The Thirsty Whale. Somebody needs to tell Martin Atkins that, because he's cataloging.
I don't know.
Cataloging all the Chicago.
I think the Thirsty Whale was by the 80s was more metal and stuff.
I don't know.
Oh, you know who played the Thirsty Whale, though? I did look it up, is Mother Love Bone. Mother Love Bone's only performance in Chicago was at the Thirsty Whale.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool.
But it was a little more metal.
I think I saw something about, there's some some Swerve Drivers playing some shows, right? And so somebody had posted something about Rock Candy in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
There was somebody tagged us too, because we played with Swerve Driver at Rock Candy, I think.
Did we?
I think, or somebody, I don't know,
That's possible.
Yeah, I was trying to remember, because I remember that somebody couldn't get in. Like, was it our sound guy was underage or something? You had to be 21 to get into Rock Candy, and Mark Arm was outside, and we met him, from Mudhoney.
There was another. Oh, that was me.
Okay, hey Danny, tell us,
so
you couldn't get in. Right? What happened?
So it was Swerve Driver. Yeah.
He posted about it. Yeah.
But there was a Mudhoney outside thing. That was a different time, wasn't it? Because that was when I met Martin Rushent, the guy who did, the Human League record and Pete Shelley, Homo Sapien and the Go-Go's record. Martin Rushent, he was in Seattle to check out bands.
Oh, okay. All right. The Thirsty Whale, Josh is writing like WALE. All right. What else we have? You know what I've been doing all day since I'm a lame duck president right now?
What?
I have it's the 13th, so I have 27 more days. Mark got into rock candy, and you didn't? Is that what happened, Danny? You had to sit outside or something because you were too young, you baby? I don't remember.
There's a delay.
Oh my
so
God! Yeah, I know. Sorry. So I'm an outgoing director. So I I'm noticing I know it's in the middle of the summer and stuff like that, but I'm getting less email and stuff. So I don't know what to do. No one's telling me to do anything. So I have to kind of figure out what to do for myself. So I've been packing up my office. All right, he played. Yeah, we know. You played in Swerve Driver at Rock Candy, but then
he was too young.
Did you have to go outside in the courtaurside or something? See, I remember somebody peeing. It wasn't you, Danny. I think it was.
So there was
Mark
another
Arm.
time, there was some time when we were in Seattle. Maybe it was, I don't know if we stay in Seattle for a couple of days, but there was an outdoor show and we saw Mudhoney play, and it was a huge crowd outside.
Possible, yeah. Okay.
Or no, Mudhoney was outside. Maybe it was, I don't know.
Well, one I remember
and Michael
was
Azerrad was there. It was Michael Azerrad, I remember, the Mudhoney guys, and then Martin Rushent. Yeah, and then there was a kid who had just moved to Seattle because it was the cool new place.
It was the cool new place. Is that the time when we saw the guy making the Nirvana shirts?
See, I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think so. I think this was another time. We went through Seattle a lot, but I don't know which time. The outside and the peeing.
All right, yeah. So
I don't think that was Rock Candy.
I think it was. All right,
Okay.
so Danny says it could have been the other one, the other Seattle show. You're right, or the other Seattle club. Was it the Crocodile Club or something? And then there was another one. So Danny says I posted about the show with my pal Kevin from Love Battery. Yeah. So right. Oh my God. All right. Oh, such good bands. God. All right, so back to my predicament. So what I did all day today was besides pack up all my shit out of this office that I'm vacating, this beautiful, concrete box of an office. It's not that
no windows.
No windows, yeah, of course, because there's no windows in any of these buildings. But I watched vibe coding tutorials all day.
Wow.
Yeah. There's this chick, I'm watching this chick talk about
Nice.
vibe coding. I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool. Because it's always these men, are like,
Right.
hey guys, how's it going?
No, yeah.
So
But
I
in
found
this
a lady
case,
coder.
It was a chick.
It was a chick coder, and her face was getting really sweaty while she was talking. I was like, she would stop the camera and stuff, but she didn't fix her face being sweaty. It was awesome. I loved it. It was very real. But anyway, I was watching these vibe coding videos. So because one must keep up with the times. Vibe coding is what you do when you don't know how to program. But I think that you need to do it now anyway. So if you're a computer programmer and you're over 60, you need to know what this is. This is what the kids are doing. They're using an AI to code, right? So there's... You don't have to go in ChatGPT and ask it to write the code for you. There's already like apparati that already have the AIs embedded in them as you write the code. Like what are they called? Not EDIs. What are they called? APIs. No, not APIs. What a coding environment, right? Like Visual Basic.
Yeah.
I don't even use that stuff, right? But there's and I don't even, I was starting to take notes on it and stuff like that. But you can, I think it's already connected to some sort of server-y thing. And then you can just write in it, write me a write me a program that does this. And there's principles on how, like the video I was watching was like, there's principles on how to make your prompts. Like you need to think about what you want the thing to look like and all the different things that you have. Yeah, programming vibe, right? No, it's like for programming vibrators. I am an old, but it was really interesting. Like I'm watching. Like, because I thought that you would go into ChatGPT and this is what I did like last year or 2 years ago. I like went in and I like said, hey, write me a program that tells, pulls the weather, like the local weather, like the temperature. And so it did that. It wrote my code back to me, the code that I teach. And I could throw it, and I said, do it in P5JS because that's what I'm teaching kids and stuff. But this is now embedded into the coding environment, and there's not just one of them. There's multiple ones.
Are you okay? But not because there's Copilot.
Yeah, I'm
right.
not even talking about Copilot.
Okay.
I'm talking about like, what am I talking about? Like, I wrote like. Yeah, I'll have to look at it. Just look up, just look up vibe coding because there are platforms that you can do this in already.
Yeah, Visual Studio Code has got Copilot in there.
Yeah, so Replit is one of them. Claude AI, I think, is another one. But I was looking at, so the one that the woman was doing was Replit, I think. And then there was another one. It might have been Claude that she used. She's like, oh, look at this one. It came out better. But she would tell it what she wanted the application to look like. I wanted to do like and I didn't even understand what she was asking it to do. Something about tags, something about SEO search, like SEO tags, which I know nothing about. So it was like a SEO tag, checker or something. I think it would pull the search engine, the SEO tags out of a website that you went to and rate them or something like that. She made an app that did this, like by asking the API to do that. So stay tuned, everybody. I'll show you how to do that. And if you click on the screen, Cursor AI, yeah, Cursor was another one for front end stuff. Yeah. This was like back end stuff, I think. I mean, so, and that to me, that's changing really fast because I haven't even got like the last time I taught computer programming, I think I was like, hey, everybody, you have to code something in Python. I'm not teaching Python. You have to code something. I don't care what it is that you code. Figure out something to code in Python and code it. And the students were like, like looking at their watches, like, well, I'll just take a hit on this one. Like, I'll just get a 0 on this because there's no way in hell I'm going to do this. So that's not the way to assign this assignment, apparently.
Note to self.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you have anything? This has been me just blabbing the whole time, I feel like.
I talked about Brian Wilson and Slice Stone.
Yeah. So what else? What do you wait, do the electrical music. God damn it. Actually, that's more appropriate. No, do the other music again. Okay. Okay, wait, Dan says I think Cursor can do back end stuff. Yeah, I'm sure it can. Just use it for something on the front end, though. You had it create an SQL-like database and pull dynamic data from the SQL. And I mean, we're not going to need to know this stuff anymore. But
that's
for right
cool,
now,
actually.
like
Writing complex queries.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
There you go.
That used to hurt my brain.
Yeah. See?
Yeah, I'm excited. Not that I'm going to do any database stuff anytime in the future, near future.
Actually, aren't I going to put my tour reports in a database and do something with them?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Have you seen the Pavement movie? No, fuck Pavement. We had a fight with them. It was our fault. Wait. Okay, what are you doing in the house? You're doing some house renovation.
Renovation?
Yeah.
I think it's just
Will AI take over real music? Yeah, kinda. Okay, go on. What's your what are you doing in the house?
um I I just got a bunch of things. I'm spinning plates.
Okay, that's one thing. What else?
It's nothing exciting.
Where are the plates
I
falling? Just
Fix
so
the
I know.
back steps. Fixing the back steps. What? Lots of windows.
Yeah,
I think
see,
I'm going to
so
spend the rest of my life working on
you
windows.
could probably get paid for it. These are sash windows in our house, in our very old house, right? You're doing like I saw the sash windows and I was like, shit. But you know how to fix them now.
One thing I realized is, you remember when I complained it was that front window, the window in the music room, I guess you would call it, the living room, that I had to open it up and replace or you know,
Redo
rope.
the
What is
rope,
it called?
The sashes?
Sash cord. Yeah, redo that. And I was mad because there was like the weight was in there, and then there was a second weight that was wedged in,
That's right.
and it was like, oh, they didn't bother to take out the old weight. And then I just realized this past week is that, oh no,
There would be two.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's the back weights
Yeah.
for the upper sash
Oh,
window.
wow. Oh, okay.
And so a lot of the windows, most of them are pinned now, the top half, and they don't have, they're not weighted and slid up. So, because they're not, because we've got storm windows outside of the sash windows, the old windows. And so, like, lowering the top window is not useful. And so a lot of them are just
They're pinned.
fixed, yeah. But some of them are still have the weights, and that's what it was. It's like, oh, the second weight had fallen and wedged in there.
They're beautiful. The weights are 100 years old, right?
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's just the process of going through all that, and then the attic. I was going through all the attic windows.
Did you go, oh shit, look at these, like did you notice the windows in the front were a little messed up?
Oh yeah, I pulled them all, and we're missing one. There's the center, the big center one. I feel like I saw a frame somewhere else in the house. I need to find it.
Could be in the garage too.
Yeah, it's not in the garage. Oh, maybe it's in the attic.
The attic of the garage.
Yeah.
Ooh, I want to go up there. I want to go up there the next time you go up there.
All right.
And then I think we have some poop again on the in the top floor. Like there was a little like an animal again.
It's chipmunks, and I think I know where they're coming in. They're coming in through the vent, or like the, what do you call it? The sewer, or the plumbing line. There's
I don't know
a
what it's
pipe
called,
that goes
but
up to the ceiling and through the roof, and there's a little gap there. Or they're coming up through the thing for the air conditioning line.
Ugh.
There's a gutter kind of spout, but it's being used to run the lines, and I think they can run up there. So yeah, there are all sorts of ways they can get into the but they don't go onto the bottom. They don't go.
No, they just stay in the top.
They stay in the rafters.
And they poop in this one place.
Yeah.
Like right in the front, right.
But I think I found a spot that I can seal up.
Oh, that's cool. That's exciting for me, at least, because that's always disconcerting. Okay, Josh asks, I know this is changing the subject, but will AI take over real music? What is real music, Josh? I mean, are we actually creating the music, or are we, just creating? Is it like Photoshop creating the music on if you're, I'm trying to make a joke. Will AI take over real music?
I don't know if it'll take over. I think it will exist. It will be there. And yeah, I mean, definitely there will be generative music that people listen to. Yeah, there already is.
Yeah.
So
Spotify uses
take
it
over? No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I'm it just seems like things go in waves, and so the reaction to AI created artwork will be a return to craftsmanship, right, or artisanal. So, production, and so in the same way with music. I did think about that. It's like, completely removed from technology, and then it's like, oh, that just means acoustic guitars again.
No.
Yeah.
And you have to build them.
Because that's the thing is, you think about the electric guitar and the amp and rock and roll, and then you think about hip hop and, drum machines and samplers, and it's just like, oh, that's all technology stuff. And so, and then, yeah, just even recorded music, the technology producing. We were talking about Sly Stone and Brian Wilson, right?
And
Phil
recorded
Spector,
music,
that was all
right.
about,
Yeah.
capturing,
Yeah.
music that did not exist in the real world. It existed in recorded form and through the technology. And so you could argue that, AI generated music, it's just another step
Of removing the musician. So like once you could record the musician's song, or like performance, you don't need to pay the musician anymore. You have it recorded, and so you can, and then then the royalties were developed and everything like that. But before that, right?
But it's like books, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Writing books, like there's still people who read books, right, and read novels. And it's still people who write them, but it's not like I was just talking. Who was I talking to? I was talking to our younger child about who was it? I was talking about how Michael Crichton, like Michael Crichton. I said, oh yeah, he was a doctor, or he went to medical school, but then and I was trying to remember, and then I looked it up, and it's like, yeah, he had been writing books, and then graduated from Harvard Med, but then decided not to be a practicing physician and just kept writing books. And it was like you could make money. It was like like it was like instead of being a doctor and even, but he was writing like like pulp fiction, I think, under an assumed name before Andromeda Strain. But it was like people, that was job. You could make money writing books because people bought them and read them, paperbacks. Even that thing like with Kurt Vonnegut, where it was like he had an economic sort of low period where he had been writing short stories, and that was the thing. Is like you could make a living writing short stories for all these magazines, and then sort of with like television, and then it was like that market fell apart. And then he had to start writing novels, but then he was working at a Saab dealership, right? He had to go back to a regular job for a while because the market had changed.
When I think
and
about,
so then he was writing novels,
yeah.
right? He started out science fiction and science fiction stories. Yeah, so when that market fell apart, then had to evolve and become a novelist.
When I think about Kurt Vonnegut's career in art, I like juxtapose it with Andy Warhol. Like, can one do that?
Like, are you saying because like Andy Warhol started out as an illustrator, like commercial illustration, record covers, magazine, advertising,
right,
and then became a fine artist? Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
All right, Chrissy says, "Fair. When will the auto tune go out of fashion? It must."
Yeah, that's
It'll go out soon, I'm sure.
Anyways, all right.
You've been listening to Radio Zero on Friday, June 13th, the day before the
Flag Day.
Flag Day. Yes, 2025. Project 2025.